I got on the wrong ship. The crew was all alien women. Now they don't want me to leave. The lights above flashed in every color of the rainbow, and ships of every shape and size hummed as they prepared to depart. He could feel the excitement of the port in the air, the mix of alien scents, engine fumes, and the quiet buzz of countless conversations. Every traveler seemed to know exactly where they were going. Every traveler, that is, except him. He checked his ticket again. He was supposed to be on the Starliner Horizon, a small cargo shuttle heading to the outer mining colonies. Simple, quick, and no questions asked. Just his luck that the terminal was a maze. He hurried past a row of traders selling exotic fruits that glowed softly, and through a corridor where holographic signs shifted faster than he could read them. Come on, he muttered, glancing at the schedule again. The boarding time was almost up. Finally, he saw a ship that looked like the one on his ticket. Its hull was shiny, with sleek curves and lights that ran like veins along its sides. Perfect, Ethan thought, rushing down the ramp and stepping aboard. The moment his boots hit the deck, a strange silence fell over the room. Ethan froze. The air smelled faintly of flowers, something sweet and unfamiliar, and the lights glowed softly in shades he had never seen before. He looked up and realized he was not alone. The crew. They were all women, but not human women. Their skin shimmered like polished metal in some places, and in others it was soft and smooth like velvet. Their eyes were large and bright, glowing faintly in the dim light. They had no hair as humans knew it. Instead, fine patterns moved like ribbons along their heads. They wore tight suits that gleamed, each tailored perfectly for them. Their posture was perfect, elegant, and commanding. Ethan swallowed hard. Hi, he said nervously. The nearest one tilted her head, her glowing eyes scanning him like he was a curious little animal. She spoke, but not in words Ethan understood. Instead, a voice echoed in his mind, clear, calm, and precise. You are not supposed to be here. Ethan jumped. That wasn't a translation device. That was telepathy. The thought had come directly into his mind. I think I got on the wrong ship, he said quickly. I'm sorry, He gestured wildly toward the ramp. I thought this was the Starliner Horizon. The alien tilted her head again, a strange gesture that might have been amusement or annoyance. Around him, the other crew members stopped their work and turned their glowing eyes toward him. They all looked at him at the same time, silently communicating. Ethan had never felt so small. Then one of them, taller than the rest and with a pattern of silver lines glowing along her shoulders, spoke in his mind again. The ship is already departing. You may not leave until the journey is complete. What? Wait. That's not, Ethan's words sounded panicked even to him, but before he could argue, the ship gave a subtle shudder. With a soft hum and a quiet roar, it lifted off the docking platform. The port disappeared beneath him in a blur of colors. Ethan felt a knot in his stomach. He was trapped. He stumbled backward, looking around for some kind of control panel to maybe stop the ship. But everything was alien. The panels glowed with shapes and symbols he couldn't read. Lights danced across the surfaces, changing as if alive. A soft hum resonated through the floor. He was trapped on a ship full of alien women who had already decided he wasn't supposed to leave, and he had no idea what to do. Okay, he muttered to himself. Stay calm, don't panic, just figure it out. The taller one, the apparent leader, glided toward him. Her voice echoed in his mind again. You are not our enemy, but you are unusual. Ethan nodded quickly. Right, I'm definitely not your enemy. I just made a mistake, honest mistake. The alien paused and observed him carefully. Then she said one word that he could understand aloud. Why? Ethan blinked. Why what? Why are you here? Oh, okay, Ethan said. I was trying to get to the Starliner Horizon. Wrong ramp, wrong ship. Completely my fault. He tried to smile, hoping it would help. Probably didn't. The aliens didn't laugh. They didn't smile. They just watched. The leader's eyes glowed brighter for a moment, then dimmed. You are resourceful, Ethan frowned. Resourceful, me? Yes. You acted quickly without hesitation. You think fast. Ethan laughed nervously. Well, I did run a lot to get here. Maybe that counts. The alien didn't answer. She gestured toward a seat that glided silently toward him. With no other choice, he sat down. As the ship sailed through space, Ethan watched the stars stretch into lines outside the window. He had always dreamed of space travel, but this was not what he had imagined. He had imagined adventure, yes, maybe a little danger, but not being held hostage on an alien ship with women who could read his thoughts. The leader returned to her station and spoke to the crew. Ethan couldn't understand the words, but he could feel the meaning. They were discussing him, whether to trust him, whether he could be useful. He felt a little like a lab experiment, and it was terrifying. Then something unexpected happened. The ship shuddered violently. Ethan was thrown forward, hitting the edge of the console. The aliens reacted instantly, moving with incredible speed. Panels lit up, doors closed automatically, and the ship steadied itself. Ethan rubbed his head, heart racing. Did I do that?" he asked out loud. The leader turned toward him, and he felt the telepathic presence again. "No, but your instincts may have helped. You noticed the danger before the sensors confirmed it." Ethan blinked. "You mean I did something right?" "Yes." For the first time, he felt a tiny spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, he could survive this trip. Maybe these alien women would see some value in him beyond being, well, an accidental stowaway. Over the next few hours, Ethan observed the crew. They moved with grace and precision, like dancers in zero gravity. They spoke in their telepathic language, issuing orders and communicating strategies silently. Every movement seemed perfect, efficient, and beautiful. Ethan realized he could do nothing the way they did it, but maybe he didn't need to. Maybe there was something uniquely human he could offer, and the chance to prove it came sooner than he expected. The ship passed through a dense asteroid field, a trail of floating rocks that could easily tear it apart. The aliens were skilled navigators, but even they looked tense. Ethan's mind worked faster than he had expected. He remembered the simulations he had watched as a kid, dodging virtual asteroids on a human console. He noticed a pattern, a safe gap in the asteroids that the automated systems hadn't highlighted. "Hey, wait!" he shouted, pointing toward the gap. The aliens turned toward him, surprised that a human was speaking out. There's a clear path between those two clusters. You can go through it, trust me?" For a tense moment, no one moved. Then the leader approached the control panel where Ethan pointed. She hesitated, then nodded ever so slightly. The ship adjusted its course, following Ethan's suggestion. The asteroids parted like a curtain, and the ship glided safely through the field. The crew members shared a look, a mix of surprise and acknowledgement. "You are brave," the leader told him. Ethan exhaled. "Or maybe just lucky," he said with a grin. "No." "This was foresight and quick thinking. Both are admirable," she replied. For the first time, Ethan felt like more than just a mistake on their ship. He felt like maybe, just maybe, he could belong here. The rest of the trip was calmer, but Ethan remained alert. Every so often, he caught the crew glancing at him, measuring him, wondering if he would do something unexpected again. He realized that this was the beginning of something extraordinary, an adventure far beyond anything he had imagined, with beings who were nothing like him, yet slowly beginning to respect him. As he lay down in the small cabin that had been assigned to him, Ethan thought about the stars outside. They stretched on forever, countless and unknown. And for the first time, he didn't feel small or scared. He felt ready. Whatever this ship, whatever this crew, whatever this galaxy had in store for him, he would face it. He was human. And humans had a way of surviving, no matter how strange the world around them. The next morning, Ethan woke to a soft hum vibrating through the walls of the ship. Light poured through the window, but it wasn't sunlight. The stars outside shifted in colors he had never seen before, bright greens and purples pulsing like living things. He rubbed his eyes and stretched. His muscles ached from the long journey, but he felt something new, excitement. He had survived his first day on the alien ship. Not only survived, he had impressed the crew. Maybe he was starting to belong. But that thought didn't last long. A gentle, almost musical sound echoed in his mind. He froze, recognizing it immediately. The leader of the crew was speaking to him telepathically. "It is time for you to learn our ways. We cannot allow ignorance to endanger this ship." Ethan swallowed. Okay, I guess." Within moments, the taller alien appeared in his cabin. She was graceful, moving like a river of light, and her glowing eyes studied him carefully. She gestured toward the doorway. "Follow," she said simply. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped out. The hallway stretched before him, walls glowing softly with patterns that shifted like liquid. He could hear the quiet movements of the crew in other parts of the ship. Each one moved with silent precision, performing tasks he didn't understand. He followed the leader into a large room that seemed to be the heart of the ship. The walls shimmered with data, the floor floated slightly beneath his feet, and holographic screens hovered in the air, showing star charts and complex calculations. Other crew members were already there, standing in a semicircle around the glowing consoles. Ethan cleared his throat. Hi." They all turned toward him, eyes glowing, silently observing. One of them stepped forward, a shorter alien with delicate silver markings along her arms. She spoke in his mind. "He is curious. He wants to understand." The leader nodded. "Yes." Curiosity may be his greatest tool or his greatest risk. Ethan wasn't sure whether to be flattered or scared. "We will teach you," the leader said. "You must learn quickly. Space is unforgiving." And with that, the lesson began, learning alien culture. The first challenge was simple for them, but confusing for him: communication. The Zalaris didn't rely on speech the way humans did. They used telepathy, gestures, and subtle movements of their bodies. Each flick of an arm, each glow in the skin, carried meaning. Ethan tried to mimic them, waving his arms and tilting his head, but the crew just tilted their heads in response, puzzled, amused, and slightly skeptical. "Your gestures are inaccurate," the leader said. I'm trying," Ethan admitted. "It's kind of hard to read all the glowing patterns and floating hand movements." "You will adapt," the leader replied. "Humans are resilient. You survive in harsh conditions. You learn from mistakes. That is useful." Ethan smiled weakly. He wasn't sure if she was complimenting him or warning him, probably both. Next, they taught him about the ship systems. The controls didn't respond to touch. They responded to thought and intent. At first, Ethan thought it was impossible. He concentrated, imagining moving the star charts on the screen. Nothing happened. He concentrated harder. A holographic map shifted slightly. His heart leapt. "Yes, I did it," he whispered. The crew's eyes glowed brighter. They didn't clap, Zalaris didn't clap, but Ethan could feel their approval in his mind. "Progress is noted," the leader said. By the end of the first day, Ethan had managed to move small panels, open doors, and even activate a scanner. It was nothing compared to the skill of the Zalaris, but for a human it was remarkable, and the crew had started to smile, well, in their own alien way. The first task the next morning, the leader called him again. This time it wasn't a lesson, it was a task. "We are approaching a dense asteroid cluster. The sensors detect unstable rocks. We require additional calculations to navigate safely." Ethan's stomach tightened. This was the kind of thing he might have done on simulations back on Earth, but now the stakes were real. He was led to a console that floated in midair. His hands hovered over the glowing symbols, but the machine didn't respond. Panic bubbled up. He could feel the crew watching, telepathically scanning his thoughts, judging him. "Okay, focus," he muttered. "Think like a human. Use logic." He examined the asteroid paths, noticing patterns that the sensors had ignored. Tiny gaps opened between rocks that would allow the ship to pass safely. His pulse quickened. He reached out with his mind, projecting the plan toward the ship's systems. Slowly, the path highlighted itself in soft blue. The crew paused. Then the leader spoke in his mind. "You have found a solution, unexpected but correct." Ethan exhaled. "Hugh, I did it." "Yes, humans find opportunities where others see danger. This is useful." For the first time, Ethan felt a real sense of belonging. He wasn't just a stowaway or a mistake. He could help this crew. He could survive. Humans versus alien logic. Despite this success, Ethan quickly realized that living with the Zalaris was not simple. Their way of thinking was completely different from humans. They valued precision, efficiency, and calm above all else. Humor, mistakes, and improvisation were foreign concepts. During lunch, if it could even be called that, Ethan accidentally dropped a container of glowing liquid. It splashed across the floor, fizzing softly. He froze. The crew stared. "Carelessness is dangerous," one of them said, a hint of disapproval in her mental tone. Sorry, I didn't mean it," Ethan said quickly. "You must learn control," the leader added. "But you also demonstrate creativity. You adapted quickly to avoid injury." Ethan nodded, realizing that every mistake had a consequence, but also every small success earned respect. By the end of the second day, Ethan was learning more than he had ever learned in his life. Alien language, alien technology, alien thought patterns. His brain ached from the effort, but it was exhilarating. An unexpected challenge on the third day, the ship passed near a small, uncharted planet. The sensors detected an unstable energy field surrounding it. The crew was cautious. Approaching without careful calculation could damage the ship. Ethan watched as the leader analyzed the readings. "We require precise calculations," she said in his mind. "Errors are unacceptable." Ethan frowned. He realized that the humans back home had something aliens lacked: intuition about uncertainty. Sensors were useful, but sometimes they missed details. He stepped forward. Wait, I think I see a safe route through. The sensors are missing a pattern. The crew paused, surprised. No human had ever suggested this before. Explain, the leader said. Ethan traced the asteroid patterns with his finger, the energy field patterns, and explained how he thought they could move safely. The crew examined his solution. Slowly, the leader nodded. You are brave. You take risks, but you calculate them. This is human ingenuity, she said. The ship moved cautiously, following Ethan's guidance. Every crew member's eyes glowed brighter as the calculations proved correct. The danger passed. Ethan's chest swelled. Humans were not perfect. But in a galaxy filled with perfection, unpredictability and courage mattered. The first night that night, Ethan lay in his cabin, staring at the stars beyond the window. His mind was racing, replaying every moment of the day. He had learned alien customs, helped navigate danger, and impressed a crew that could probably tear a human in half if they wanted. He felt something new, pride, not arrogance, just pride in being human. Humans weren't perfect. They made mistakes. They laughed. They panicked. But they survived. They adapted. And in this moment, aboard a ship filled with alien women who were centuries ahead of him in technology, Ethan realized humans could still matter. He drifted to sleep thinking about the next day. The adventures would not stop. The challenges would not stop, but he was ready. He was human, and humans had a way of turning the impossible into the possible. Outside, the stars shimmered. Inside, the ship hummed. And somewhere in that hum, Ethan felt a quiet acknowledgement from the crew. He belonged here. At least for now, the days on the Zalaris ship had grown into a rhythm. Ethan was learning their language, their gestures, their way of thinking. Each day, he surprised himself with how much he could understand, and how much the crew seemed to value his unique perspective. But nothing could have prepared him for the challenge that came next. It began with an alert, a soft vibration through the floor, followed by a chorus of glows from the crew's eyes. The ship's sensors had picked up an unidentified fleet approaching rapidly. Unlike anything Ethan had seen in simulations or movies, these ships moved like predators, silent and precise. The leader's voice echoed in his mind, calm but tense. Hostile vessels, unknown, they approach fast, prepare for defense. Ethan swallowed. Hostile. You mean pirates? Perhaps. They are not Zalaris. They do not follow standard protocols. They are dangerous. The ship's interior shimmered with alerts as holographic screens projected the fleet outside. The ships were sleek, black, and jagged, unlike the smooth, elegant curves of the Zalaris vessels. Ethan felt his pulse race. He was terrified, but also alive. Human ingenuity in action, the crew immediately took positions. Each member moved with precision, their telepathic commands invisible yet perfectly synchronized. Ethan, however, had never done anything like this. He didn't even have a station. "Where do I go?" he asked aloud. "You will assist with calculations. Your human perspective may provide an advantage." Ethan blinked. "Advantage me?" "Yes, you think differently." He approached a console floating slightly above the deck. Holographic screens shifted at his touch, or rather at his thought. The sensors showed the enemy fleet's patterns, fast, unpredictable, and aggressive. The crew murmured to one another telepathically. Ethan realized they were waiting for him to suggest something. He studied the patterns. Humans were not perfect strategists, but they were inventive. Where sensors detected chaos, Ethan detected patterns, tiny gaps, predictable reactions, opportunities the advanced algorithms of the ship had not accounted for. "Wait," he said. "If we use their speed against them, we can loop them around the asteroid field coming up. Their engines can't adjust in tight spaces as fast as ours. We can trap them or at least slow them down." The crew paused. The leader's eyes glowed intensely. "Explain." Ethan pointed at the holographic display. "See these clusters? If we move here, they'll follow, thinking we're escaping, but the field tightens and they can't maneuver as quickly. We can force them to spread out or crash." The leader's eyes narrowed, considering. Slowly, she nodded. "You may be correct. Implement the plan." Ethan took a deep breath and focused. He guided the ship's automated systems to adjust the course subtly, using his human intuition. He wasn't a professional pilot, but humans had a knack for improvisation. The ship shuddered as the first enemy vessels approached the asteroid cluster. Ethan held his breath. The crew monitored everything silently, telepathically ready to react to any threat. And then it happened. The enemy ships followed exactly as Ethan predicted. One by one, they became entangled in the asteroid field. Engines flared, alarms blared. The Zalaris ship slipped through unscathed. "Your strategy is effective," the leader said in his mind. "You have saved us from potential destruction. This is remarkable for a human." Ethan grinned. "Told you humans have their uses." Gaining respect after the immediate danger passed, the crew gathered in the central room. Ethan expected scolding or awkward silence. Instead, he felt approval. "Your perspective is invaluable," the leader said. "Humans possess a kind of intuition the Zalaris often lack. You may remain on this ship as a trusted member, provided you continue to prove yourself." Ethan felt a swell of pride. He had not only survived, he had contributed to the safety of the ship and crew. This was bigger than he had imagined. Humans were small, fragile, and inexperienced in space, but they were clever, adaptive, and brave. That mattered. Unexpected challenges the next few days were tense. The ship remained on high alert, moving through regions of space where pirates and hostile species were known to lurk. Ethan observed the crew closely, learning their habits and routines. Every movement was precise, efficient, and almost ritualistic. Humans, he realized, were nothing like that. They improvised. They relied on gut instincts. One day, while examining the navigation systems, Ethan noticed something unusual. A small signal had appeared on the scanners, something faint, almost invisible. The crew did not detect it immediately, but humans often notice small anomalies, and Ethan was trained to watch for patterns. Excuse me," he said. "I think there's something else here, something the sensors aren't picking up." The leader's eyes glowed. "Show us." Ethan highlighted the signal, explaining how it moved irregularly, almost like it was hiding. The crew examined it carefully. "Your perception is sharp," the leader said. "This may be an enemy probe or a trap. Your alertness prevents disaster." For the first time, Ethan realized the true power of being human. Awareness, intuition, and the ability to notice the things that algorithms and perfect reasoning might miss. The human advantage. That evening, the crew allowed Ethan a small space of free time, a chance to relax, eat, or even attempt to sleep. He wandered the ship, marveling at the architecture. Everywhere he saw the elegance of Zalaris design. Walls that responded to touch, floors that floated slightly beneath his feet, lights that pulsed gently in response to the crew's thoughts. Despite the beauty and elegance, Ethan realized something important. Humans had a quality the Zalaris did not. They made mistakes, but they also adapted. They improvised, they took risks. And in a galaxy filled with perfect calculations and rigid logic, those qualities could make the difference between survival and disaster. First, true bond. Over time, Ethan began to bond with one of the crew, a smaller Zalaris with amber-colored skin and gentle glowing lines along her arms. She was curious about him, and he about her. They communicated slowly at first, telepathic words mixed with gestures. Ethan learned her name, Lyra. Lyra asked about Earth. Ethan described oceans, mountains, forests, and cities filled with millions of humans. She listened in awe, her glowing eyes widening as he spoke of human creativity, inventions, and resilience. "Your species is small, fragile, yet bold," Lyra said. "You survive where others fail, you have spirit." Ethan felt warmth in his chest, recognition, respect, even friendship. It was more than he had expected. "Thanks," he said. "We're not perfect, but we try. And we learn fast when we need to." "Yes," Lyra agreed. "This is why the leader values you. You are unpredictable, and that is valuable." A test of courage, their calm did not last long. The next day, the ship approached a dense nebula. The sensors struggled to penetrate the swirling gases. Visibility was low. The crew hesitated, unsure whether to proceed. Ethan's mind worked quickly. He remembered lessons from Earth about navigating foggy regions with limited visibility, relying on intuition and observation rather than just instruments. "Maybe we can use the nebula's currents," he suggested aloud. "We could ride them carefully, letting the ships behind us struggle while we maintain control." The leader considered this. "Risky, but possible," Ethan nodded. "It's risky, yes, but humans often take risks when others hesitate. That's how we survive." The crew implemented the plan. The ship glided through the nebula, adjusting constantly, reacting to every shift in the gas currents. Ethan's quick observations prevented collisions and maintained speed. When they emerged on the other side, the crew shared a brief moment of acknowledgement, silent but potent. "You have courage," the leader said in his mind. And humans possess courage in ways we do not. Ethan smiled. Thanks, I try. Humanity earns its place. By the end of Part 3, Ethan had proven himself in more ways than he could have imagined. He had navigated danger, noticed what sensors missed, and guided the crew through treacherous situations. The Zalaris respected him, not because he was perfect, but because he was human. Humans were flawed, yes, but they had heart, intuition, and bravery, and the Zalaris were beginning to realize that these qualities could turn the impossible into the possible. As he drifted to sleep that night, Ethan thought about the journey ahead. The galaxy was dangerous, full of unknown threats, but he was ready, not just to survive, but to thrive. Humans had a way of leaving their mark even among the stars. He closed his eyes, a smile on his face, knowing that the crew, once strangers, now companions, relied on him, and that he had truly earned his place aboard the alien ship. The calm days aboard the Zalaris ship were over. For the first time since Ethan had accidentally boarded, the ship faced a real crisis that tested every ounce of skill, courage, and ingenuity in its crew. It started with a sharp vibration underfoot, followed by alarms flashing across every console. The ship shuddered violently, throwing Ethan forward. He grabbed the edge of a floating panel to steady himself. "Status!" the leader's voice echoed in his mind. "Malfunction in the primary reactor, energy output unstable." "Systems shutting down," another crew member telepathically reported. Ethan's stomach dropped. "Oh, what does that mean?" he whispered aloud. The crew didn't answer with words. Instead, he felt the tension radiating from them, an invisible pressure that wrapped around him like a heavy cloak. The leader approached him. "You are human. You may act where we hesitate. Observe carefully. We need solutions fast." Ethan's heart pounded. He wasn't trained for alien reactors or interstellar engineering, but he had something humans always had: adaptability and quick thinking. A daring plan the reactor was critical. Without it, the ship would drift uncontrollably into the nearby asteroid belt. One wrong move and the entire crew could be lost. The aliens moved with precision, following protocols he didn't fully understand. Ethan, however, had no protocols. He had ideas. He scanned the readouts on the floating console. Numbers flickered in strange symbols, but patterns emerged. Something was misaligned, causing energy surges in one section of the reactor. He remembered seeing something similar in an old Earth power station simulation. "Wait," he said aloud. "I think I see it. There's a feedback loop causing the surges. If we reroute power through the auxiliary channels, we can stabilize it temporarily." The leader's eyes glowed, her usual calm intensity heightened. "Explain." Ethan pointed to the glowing symbols, tracing the feedback loop in his mind. "The main channel is overloaded. If we divert some energy here, we give the system time to stabilize. It's risky, but it should work." "You are audacious," the leader said, "but audacity may save us." The crew moved quickly, following his instructions. Ethan felt a mixture of fear and excitement. If he failed, the ship could be destroyed. If he succeeded, he might prove that humans truly had value in this galaxy. Courage under pressure. As the plan was executed, alarms blared louder. Panels flashed red, and the ship shuddered with violent energy surges. Ethan's hands hovered over the floating controls, focusing his mind on every movement, every calculation. "Steady, steady," he muttered. The crew observed silently, their thoughts and emotions a pressure he could almost feel physically. They had centuries of experience, but they relied on perfection. Humans, they soon realized, had a different kind of strength, the ability to act without certainty, guided by instinct and quick thinking. Ethan rerouted the power, channeling energy through auxiliary circuits while stabilizing the reactor. The hum of the ship shifted from chaotic to steady. Slowly, the alarms dimmed, the energy output normalized, the leader's eyes glowed brighter. "Human, you have acted with courage, you have prevented disaster." Ethan slumped back, breathing heavily. I did it." "Yes." "You are invaluable," she replied. For the first time, he felt something profound. He was no longer just a stowaway. He was a member of this crew, a human among aliens, contributing in ways no one else could, bonding through crisis. After the reactor stabilized, Ethan was escorted to a quieter section of the ship. Lyra was there, her amber glow softer than usual. She studied him with an intensity that made him feel both nervous and proud. "You risked yourself," she said in his mind. "This is admirable." Ethan shrugged, trying to seem casual. "I just did what needed to be done. I couldn't stand by and watch the ship fall apart." Humans act differently. You act despite fear. You are brave. Ethan smiled. Maybe that's why humans survive in crazy situations. Lyra's glow pulsed gently, a gesture Ethan was beginning to recognize as a smile. For the first time, he felt that the crew didn't just tolerate him. They respected him, even valued him. Unexpected complications just as they thought the worst was over, another alert sounded. A small asteroid, dislodged by the reactor's surges, was heading straight for the ship. The crew moved into defensive positions, their eyes glowing with concentration. Ethan looked at the console, thinking fast. Sensors showed the asteroid's trajectory and mass. It was too fast for the ship's weapons to intercept in time, but humans had something machines didn't: improvisation. "Wait, we can use the ship's gravity fields to divert it," Ethan shouted. The leader's eyes widened. "Explain." Ethan pointed at the readings. "If we adjust the gravity emitters slightly, we can pull the asteroid off course. It's risky, but it should work." The crew acted instantly. Gravity fields shifted, and the asteroid's path curved. It missed the ship by meters, close enough to feel the rush of danger, but far enough that everyone was safe. "You are clever," the leader said. "Your human mind finds solutions we would not consider." Ethan grinned. "Humans are good at thinking outside the box." Trust and respect. After the asteroid passed, the crew gathered to assess the ship. They were silent for a moment, then the leader spoke in his mind. "You have proven your worth, human. You are resourceful, courageous, and clever. You are no longer a mistake on this ship. You are necessary." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. He had never imagined that humans could earn respect from an alien species so advanced and disciplined. But here, in the middle of space, he had done it. Lyra approached him, her glowing eyes gentle. "You are extraordinary. Not because of strength or speed, but because of spirit. That is human." Ethan laughed softly. "I guess humans really do have a way of surprising people." "Yes," she said, "and you have surprised us." Reflection. Later that night, Ethan sat in his cabin, looking at the stars through the window. The galaxy stretched endlessly before him, beautiful, dangerous, and full of possibilities. He thought about the past few days, the mistakes he had made, the dangers he had faced, the moments of fear and triumph. He realized something important. Humans weren't the strongest, the fastest, or the smartest species, but humans had something else: courage, ingenuity, determination, the ability to act when the odds were impossible. He thought about the crew, about how they had watched him, evaluated him, and now trusted him. Humans could adapt to anything. Humans could survive in situations no other species could. Humans could somehow make a difference. Ethan smiled. The thought made him feel proud. He wasn't perfect. He had made mistakes. He had panicked more than once, but he had survived. And in doing so, he had earned a place aboard this incredible ship with these extraordinary alien women. Looking ahead, the crisis had passed, but Ethan knew the journey was far from over. Space was unpredictable. Danger lurked in every corner, from rogue asteroids to hostile fleets. But he was no longer just a stowaway or a curious human. He was a member of the crew, valued for his courage and ingenuity. And for the first time, he felt truly alive. As he drifted to sleep, the hum of the ship surrounding him, Ethan thought about what the future might hold. There would be more challenges, more dangers, but he was ready. Humans had a way of facing the impossible and winning. The stars outside glowed with promise. And Ethan, human among aliens, was ready to meet whatever came next. The days that followed the reactor crisis passed in a strange rhythm of relief and tension. The ship moved through the stars like a living creature, humming softly, its systems operating at peak efficiency thanks to Ethan's quick thinking and the crew's careful adjustments. Ethan had settled into a routine, learning more every day, yet he could feel something shifting among the crew. They no longer regarded him as a novelty or a mistake. He had earned their respect, and with respect came expectation. The leader called him to the central control room. As he entered, he saw the crew gathered in their usual semicircle, their glowing eyes focused. The leader's gaze fixed on him. "We have arrived near the port of Arrival 9, she said in his mind. "You may leave if you wish. Or you may continue with us." Ethan froze. Arrival 9, a human-friendly station full of familiar faces, familiar smells, and the promise of returning to Earth. For the first time since he had boarded the ship, the question of choice pressed on him. Could he leave the crew who had come to rely on him? Could he abandon the bond he had formed in just a few weeks? He swallowed and looked at the leader. I didn't expect this. I mean, I thought I'd get off the ship and go home. Home, the leader echoed in his mind. A human concept, but humans find home wherever they prove themselves, wherever they belong. You have proven yourself. This is your place if you choose it. Ethan's mind raced. On one hand, there was Earth, friends, family, comfort. On the other, there was adventure, purpose, and a crew that valued him for who he was, not just what he could do. He glanced around. Lyra's amber eyes met his, warm and bright. "We value you," she said softly in his mind. "We have learned from you. You have changed this ship, changed us, stayed with courage and wisdom." Ethan's chest tightened. He had never been appreciated like this before, not for his strength, not for his skill, but for his mind, his courage, his humanity, a human decision. Ethan sat in a floating chair, staring at the holographic map of the port ahead. The stars beyond it shimmered like diamonds in a black velvet sky. He thought about his journey, the mistakes he had made, the dangers he had faced, the victories small and large. Humans had survived in impossible situations, outsmarted stronger opponents, and adapted to environments no one else could endure. That was why he was here, alive, respected, and even admired. But leaving Earth still tugged at his heart. He closed his eyes and imagined the people he loved. Could he leave them for the unknown, for a life among aliens in distant space? Then he remembered the feeling of flying through the asteroid field, saving the ship, stabilizing the reactor, guiding the crew through dangers no one had predicted. He remembered the sense of purpose, the feeling of making a difference. He remembered Lyra's words, "You have changed us." Humans didn't always follow the rules. Humans took risks. Humans faced fear with courage, and humans didn't give up when they saw something worth protecting. Ethan opened his eyes. The decision was clear, a bold choice. He stood before the crew. I'm staying," he said aloud, and the words felt right. "I don't want to go back yet. I want to continue this journey with you." The leader's eyes glowed brightly, a rare sign of approval among the Zalaris. "You choose adventure over comfort. You choose courage over ease. This is human spirit. You are welcome to remain." The crew shifted, glowing with what Ethan recognized as joy. Not human laughter, but a shared acknowledgement, a silent celebration. Lyra approached him, her glow softening in warmth. "You have made the right choice," she said. "We are stronger with you, and you are part of this ship now." Ethan grinned, feeling a lightness he had never known. He had made a choice that humans were uniquely capable of, choosing purpose over comfort, bravery over fear. The journey continues with Ethan's decision made. The ship lifted off from the port of Oracle 9, heading into uncharted space. The stars stretched into brilliant streaks outside the windows, and the ship hummed like a living organism, ready for whatever lay ahead. The crew worked together seamlessly, their trust in Ethan evident in every glance, every subtle gesture. They no longer needed to question his judgment. He had proven his worth again and again. Ethan felt a thrill of excitement. There would be dangers. There would be challenges. But he knew now that humans had a way of turning the impossible into the possible. They adapted, survived, and thrived where others might fail. He joined Lyra at a floating console. Together, they studied an incoming star map, plotting a course through a dense region of nebulae and asteroid belts. "I've noticed a pattern," Ethan said, pointing at the map. "If we adjust our route slightly here, we can avoid the turbulence and save energy." Lyra's glow pulsed with approval. "Your mind finds opportunity where others see only risk. This is why we value you," Ethan smiled. Humans were small, fragile, and unpredictable, but in the right circumstances they could accomplish amazing things. New threats, new triumphs. The next days brought new adventures. The ship encountered a rogue asteroid swarm, strange electromagnetic storms, and even another small fleet of unknown ships. Each time, Ethan's quick thinking and human ingenuity saved the day. He learned to read the subtle cues of the Zalaris crew, combining their precision with his improvisation. Together, they formed a team stronger than any one individual. Through each challenge, Ethan's confidence grew. Humans were not perfect. They could be reckless, emotional, and flawed. But those very traits made them capable of brilliance where others were limited by logic and routine. The crew came to rely on him, not just as a human, but as a valuable mind, a courageous spirit, and a source of hope in impossible situations. A quiet moment one evening, Ethan found himself alone on the observation deck, staring at the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly before him, full of mystery and wonder. He felt a sense of peace he had never known. Lyra joined him, her amber glow soft in the dim light. "You have grown stronger," she said. "Humans are remarkable. You are remarkable." Ethan laughed softly. "Thanks, but I couldn't have done any of this without all of you. You taught me things I never imagined, and you trusted me when I was just me." "Trust is earned," Lyra said. "And you earned it. You are part of this family now." Ethan felt warmth spread through him. Family. Crew, adventure. He had found a place where humans could shine, where courage and ingenuity were recognized and valued. The future awaits as the ship sailed further into the unknown. Ethan thought about Earth. He loved his home planet, and he knew he would return someday. But for now, there was a greater adventure ahead. Humans had survived the impossible countless times. They had explored, discovered, and thrived against odds that seemed unbeatable. Now aboard this alien ship with a crew that had once seemed so alien and unapproachable, Ethan realized humans could make a difference in ways no one had imagined. He was ready for whatever the galaxy had to throw at him. Rogue fleets, dangerous planets, unpredictable phenomena. Humans could handle it. They always did. Ethan glanced at Lyra and the rest of the crew, a smile on his face. The stars awaited, endless and bright, and humanity had a place among them. For the first time, Ethan felt truly at home, not on a planet, not among humans, but among the stars with aliens who respected him for his mind, his courage, and his spirit. He was human, and humans thrived. And so the ship sailed on, a human among alien women, facing the galaxy together, proving that even in a universe full of perfection, human ingenuity, courage, and determination could make all the difference.